Hola a todos. My name is Josep Cruz. I'm the module leader of language diversity in Spain. And this first session, we're going to look a little bit at different languages of Spain and also history, although it's not a historical linguistics module, but it's good to have, a little bit of historical perspective to understand language diversity today. So we'll be focusing in this module on what we call lenguas autóctonas. In Spanish, it's autochthonous languages, so historical languages. In the second session, we'll be looking at the terminology also. So we'll devote more time to the different labels that I used in the literature to refer to these languages, for example, regional or minority languages. Okay. As you know, all languages spoken in Spain are Romance languages. They all come from Latin, except for one, which is Basque. And you have here a list of the Romance languages, of the main Romance languages, Catalan/Valencian. We'll talk also in some detail about this differentiation between Catalan on the one hand and Valencian, whether these are two varieties of the same languages or two different languages. That's controversial, as usual when naming languages. Galician, Occitan, Aranese, so it's spoken in the Pyrenees, also in the Catalan Pyrenees. Aragonese and Asturian Leonese, so Asturiano, Aragonés, Aranés, Gallego, Catalan, and Valenciano. Okay, and as I was saying before, all those languages are Romance languages, but the Basque language, also known as Euskera or Euskara in Basque, Euskara is the name of the Basque language in Basque. Is what we call in linguistics an isolated language, so it's not related at all to any other language, any other neighboring language. Also, we'll be repeating this a bit, but as you probably know, Spain is divided into 17 comunidades autónomas, so autonomous communities, autonomous regions. And this is an important factor because it will have an impact on educational policies. Remember that we'll devote also one session on the education systems of different regions in Spain with autochthonous languages. And there's also two autonomous enclaves, two small cities, Ceuta and Melilla, on the coast of Morocco, which belong to Spain. So, looking a little bit at the history, the languages of Spain, what you see in this map is the expansion to the south after the what we call the Reconquista, the reconquest. Remember the Arab invasion as of the 10th century, 1914. But the Christian armies and kingdoms were kind of recovering territory and expanding the territory from north to south. Okay, gaining more and more territory to the Arabs up to 1492. When the last kingdom of Granada fell in the hands of the Christian kingdoms. You know that probably. So how does that affect, or how did that affect language expansion in the Iberian Peninsula? So you can see how these varieties of Latin at that time, in the 10th century, these maps represents linguistic diversity in the 10th century. You see that we have on the left-hand side Gallego expanding south, spreading south, We have Astur-Leonese or Asturiano-Leonese, again from Asturias in the north down to Salamanca, really. Then Castilian, which at the time, and this is important to understand, Castilian at the time was just another Romance language, not the, as you can see, the most widespread, but then, with time and political power, economic power, etc., as you know, it became, the main, the most powerful language in Spain. Then you have Basque here in dark green, and Navarro Aragonese, so another language, and of course Catalan, which would expand also south, from north to south, to cover all the Valencian region and the Balearic Islands, as you know. Okay, and what you have here is this dialectos mozárabes, and these are Romance varieties as spoken by the Arab population living in this southern part of the Iberian Peninsula, and all these dialectos mozárabes, all these varieties, would eventually die out when these Romance varieties expanded south, expanded towards towards the south. So we've seen this before also, 17 autonomous communities nowadays, and the important issue here is that after Franco's dictatorship and during the transition, there's been an important process of devolution of legislative powers, and this has had a significant impact on language policy, particularly in education, but also in other domains of use. We'll see, for example, media, administration, and we'll look into that in some detail in the coming weeks. We'll be looking at all these issues that I'm presenting very briefly now in this first session. Okay. So, what are the facts, or some important facts to understand just from the beginning? We do have official languages, several official, co-official languages, we'll call them, according to the constitution. And an important fact is that about 40% of people living in Spain, 40% of Spaniards live in a bilingual community. Remember that, for example, the Mediterranean coast, in these regions here, in red, Catalonia, Valencia, the Balearic Islands, are densely populated. Other regions in Spain which are very densely populated are Madrid, as you can imagine, and also Andalusia at the south. But we also have here in green, all the municipalities and where Euskera is spoken. Then Astur-Leonese, and of course Galician as well. Okay. Official status and number of speakers. We do have official recognition for Spanish or Castilian, as you know, it's referred to in the Spanish Constitution. Catalan and Valencian as well. Gallego and Euskera. So these are specifically recognized and mentioned in the Spanish Constitution. Then we have other regional languages, other minor languages, less demographically powerful, if you like we've said this before also, Astur-Leonese. LSC is Lengua de Signos Española, so it's Spanish Sign Language. Aragonese, and then Catalan Sign Language, LSC, and Valencian Sign Language also, and then very small number of speakers for Fala, which is like a variety of Portuguese spoken in the region of Extremadura, in bordering towns between Portugal and the region of Extremadura in Spain, and Aranese, as I said, a variety of Occitan spoken in a small valley of the Pyrenees, of the Catalan Pyrenees. About the number of speakers, we have to be very, very careful and take these numbers with a pinch of salt. It's always very difficult to give exact numbers of speakers for any language. But these figures will give you a rough idea of how many people speak or are able to speak these languages. Okay. You know these, you're all learning Romance languages, and there's a lot of intercomprehension in Romance languages. They all come from Latin, and what you have on this slide is how from Latin here on the left hand side many words derived into these Romance languages that you all know. Okay, as I said before, we're going to concentrate on autochthonous languages, historical languages, but there are many other languages in Spain today, spoken in Spain today. Okay? An important one is Romani, which is the language spoken by Gypsy people, by Romani people in Spain. We've mentioned sign languages, and of course immigration is a common phenomenon in Spain and many other European countries, as you know. So we have Arabic or Berber, Amazigh languages also spoken not just in Spain, in the Iberian Peninsula, but also in Ceuta and Melilla, the two enclaves in Morocco. And many other languages that are spoken by people who have migrated to Spain and who have settled in Spain, like Moroccan Arabic, Romanian, for example, different varieties of Chinese, English, of course, Italian. There's a sizable population of Italian people, for example, living in Barcelona. Hindi, Punjabi, many African languages like Wolof, and many others. Okay, as I said before, these of course form part of this linguistic diversity of Spain. But basically, in this module, we're going to concentrate on what we call autochthonous languages. And this is the last slide for today, for this introductory session. The sociolinguistic situation. We have different levels of legal protection, so we'll be looking at language laws and legislation, different levels of recognition, different levels of social prestige, also different levels of institutionalization. That means with those regional or minority languages, autochthonous languages, are used in the public administration, for example. Different levels of intergenerational transmission, and that is important, passing on the language to the next generation. We'll be looking in the last few sessions to the future of all these minority languages, regional languages. The use in private and public domains as well, and their strength, not just in number of speakers, but also in the cultural production, cinema, literature, of course, and other sort of cultural production. And when we can see, and we'll look at these in more detail in the coming session, is that there's already a hierarchy of languages within Spain. As you can guess already, Spanish / Castilian is the main language, the most widespread, the language that has most recognition, protection, etc. Then we have like a second category, if you like, of Catalan / Valencian, Galician, and Basque languages, which are, we could say, middle-sized languages, middle-sized European languages, also recognized by the Spanish Constitution. widely spoken and used in many domains in the regions where these languages originated. And then we have like a third category of much smaller and less recognized minority languages, autochthonal languages in Spain, like Occitan, Aragonese, and Asturiano as well. And we'll be looking at these lesser used languages as well. But of course, in this module, we'll be paying more attention to, on the one hand, the role of Spanish as the dominant language, the hegemonic language, and these main regional languages, which are Catalan, Galician, and Basque. And one of the issues that will come up again and again in the coming weeks, as you'll see, and you kind of also may guess, is that language promotion, language revitalization, language recognition is a side of conflict, is a side of a struggle. And languages in Spain and in many other parts of Europe and beyond can become a highly politicized weapon, okay, depending on the context. We'll be exploring all these issues in the coming weeks. Okay, so that's all for this first session.